Martin Mull, comedian and actor in Arrested Development and Roseanne, dies at 80. Martin Mull, whose droll, esoteric comedy and acting made him a hip sensation in the 1970s and later a beloved guest star on sitcoms, including Roseanne and Arrested Development, has died, his daughter said Friday. Mull's daughter, TV writer and comic artist Maggie Mull, said her father died at home on Thursday after a valiant fight against a long illness. Mull, who was also a guitarist and painter, came to national fame with a recurring role on the Norman Lear-created satirical soap opera Mary Hartman, and the starring role in its spin-off Fernwood Tonight. He was known for excelling at every creative discipline imaginable and also for doing Red Roof Inn commercials, Maggie Mull said in an Instagram post. He would find that joke funny. He was never not funny. My dad will be deeply missed by his wife and daughter, by his friends and coworkers, by fellow artists and comedians and musicians, and the sign of a truly exceptional person by many, many dogs. Known for his blonde hair and well-trimmed mustache, Mull was born in Chicago, raised in Ohio and Connecticut, and studied art in Rhode Island and Rome. His first foray into show business was as a songwriter, penning the 1970 semi-hit Girl Named Johnny Cash for singer Jane Morgan. He would combine music and comedy in an act that he brought to hip Hollywood clubs in the 1970s. In 1976, I was a guitar player and sit-down comic appearing at the Roxy on the Sunset Strip when Norman Lear walked in and heard me, Mull told the Associated Press in 1980. He cast me as the wife-beater on Mary Hartman. 4 months later, I was spun off on my own show. His time on the Strip was memorialized in the 1973 country rock classic Lonesome L.A. Cowboy, where the Riders of the Purple Sage give him a shout-out, along with music luminaries Chris Christopherson and Rita Coolidge. I know Chris and Rita and Marty Mull are hanging at the Troubadour, the song says. On Fernwood Tonight, sometimes styled as Fernwood Tonight, he played Barth Gimble, the host of a local talk show in a Midwestern town and twin to his Mary Hartman character. Fred Willard, a frequent collaborator with very similar comic sensibilities, played his sidekick. It was later revamped as America Tonight and set in Southern California. He would get to be a real talk show host as a substitute for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. Mull often played slightly sleazy, somewhat slimy, and often smarmy characters, as he did as Terry Garr's boss and Michael Keaton's foe in 1983's Mr. Mom. He played Colonel Mustard in the 1985 movie adaptation of the board game Clue, which, like many things Mull appeared in, has become a cult classic. The 1980s also brought what many thought was his best work, A History of White People in America, a mockumentary that first aired on Cinemax. Mull co-created the show and starred as a 60-minute-style investigative reporter investigating all things milquetoast and mundane. Willard was again a co-star. He wrote and starred in 1988's Rented Lips alongside Robert Downey Jr., whose father, Robert S.R., directed. His co-star Jennifer Tilly said in an ex-post Friday that Mull was such a witty, charismatic, and kind person. In the 1990s, he was best known for his recurring role on several seasons on Roseanne, in which he played a warmer, less sleazy boss to the title character, an openly gay man whose partner was played by Willard, who died in 2020. Mull would later play Private Eye Gene Parmesan on Arrested Development, a cult classic character on a cult classic show, and would be nominated for an Emmy, his first in 2016, for a guest run on Veep. What I did on Veep, I'm very proud of, but I like to think it's probably more collective. At my age, it's more collective. Mull told the AP after his nomination. It might go all the way back to Fernwood. Other comedians and actors were often his biggest fans. Martin was the greatest Bridesmaids director, Paul Feig said on X. So funny, so talented, such a nice guy. Was lucky enough to act with him on the Jackie Thomas Show and treasured every moment being with a legend. Fernwood Tonight was so influential in my life. Mull is survived by his daughter and musician Wendy Haas, his wife since 1982. In a tribute on Instagram, MS Mull wrote that her father was known for excelling at every creative discipline imaginable and for doing Red Roof Inn commercials. He would find that joke funny, she added. He was never not funny. Mull's first notable role was in 1976, playing Garth Gimble on the soap opera spoof Mary Hartman, which led to 2 additional spin-off roles, including in the series Fernwood Tonight. He then landed the role of Army Officer Colonel Mustard in the black comedy film Clue, inspired by the board game of the same name. Around that time, he also began voicing the Red Roof Inn advertisements that his daughter mentioned in her tribute. Television aficionados of the 1990s will recognize Mull from his work on Roseanne, where he played the titular character's boss, Leon Karp, or in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, where he played Principal Willard Kraft. Mull also appeared on the critically acclaimed satirical sitcom Arrested Development, playing hapless private detective Gene Parmesan. Mull was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for a 4-episode appearance he made on HBO's political satire Veep in 2016. Born in Chicago to an actress and a carpenter, Mull began his show business career as a songwriter and became known as a musical comedian. He opened for Frank Zappa and Bruce Springsteen at numerous live gigs in the early 1970s. He also studied painting and graduated in 1965 from the Rhode Island School of Design with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. In a 2013 interview with the AV Club, he said of his acting career that every painter I know has a day job. They're either teaching art at some college or driving a cab. I just happened to luck into a day job that's extraordinary and a lot of fun and buys a lot of paint, he said. As well as his daughter, Maggie, a TV writer, he leaves his wife, Wendy Haas, an actor and composer whom he wed in 1982.